All right, welcome back everyone to another episode of Ocean Outlast Expert. Hope everyone is doing great today. I know that I am. We're jumping right back on into things. Ooh, oh no. Right off the bat, we're getting this. And I was hoping I would actually catch it on camera today. That thing has been popping up all the time now. I have no idea why. So if you guys know what mod that's from, what's going on with it, what we should be worried about, let me know down in the comments below. It's some kind of ghost that's been floating around. I can't attack it in any way. It just pops up. And it's kind of creepy. It makes that noise. I don't know if it got fully captured on the recording here, but I could hear it on my end. So anyway, we did stream this game save. Let me think. What is today? I'm recording this on a Thursday, so on Monday, which was the 19th, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. So Monday the 19th, we actually streamed. We played this instead of Rage 2. Was kind of feeling playing this a little bit more than what I normally am. So I kind of got into things, especially with all our recent episodes around, different power generation, automation, getting into those kinds of things. It's kind of got the creative juices flowing from that perspective. Obviously, we've done a lot of stuff aesthetically, but it's kind of cool to get into the automation side of things and the technology in the mod packs. But anywho, so there was a lot of stuff that was done in the stream. So if you want to catch up, highly recommend going and checking out the recap. It's over on Twitch. I have it linked down in the description down below. And if you do want to stay up to date with our streams, definitely follow me over there. You'll keep up to date when I do go live. But I'll recap you really quickly on what we did. So the big thing I wanted to do was kind of even out or mess around a little bit more with our automation process that we got up and going in the last episode around getting the ores from the sifting, from taking cobblestone, changing it into gravel, taking that gravel, compressing it, putting it through our auto sieve, and then getting the outputs, converting those outputs into the chunks, and then sending those chunks through a machine that would actually, first it would grind them into the dust and then smelt them up and then stick them into our system. When we last left off, I only had one. Well, I went a little bit crazy on stream, and that was my ultimate goal to do that. And what ended up happening is we completely tore down all the way to the ground this building that we had here with our void ore miner in it. And as you can see, we have kind of pushed it out a little bit more, if anything. So not along this side right here is going to be about the same, lining up. This side we did push out more. Now that does help accommodate for upgrades to the void ore miner, which we might eventually get to, but that's not my main source of resources right now, so I'm not really worried about it. But yes, as you can see, completely redone, and I'll take you guys inside to show you what we got going on in here. So first things first, yeah, it's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff has been done here. Let me see if I can get a good lined up shot here. I want to make sure it gets all captured for our thumbnail, obviously. What makes more sense? Upwards, probably. There we go. But yeah, a lot of stuff done. And actually, not all of this was even done on our stream. I did a little bit of work off camera as well to tinker things out. So as I mentioned, we have our cobblestone generator. This will obviously generate our cobblestone. It'll throw it into our auto hammer here. Now, you don't have to use an auto hammer if you're trying to copy this setup or kind of utilize a similar structure. You can use a different type of grinder, like pulverizer or something along those lines. I'll show you another machine you can use here shortly. I just can't remember the name off the top of my head. But anyway, it goes into there, turns that cobblestone into gravel. It goes into our compressor, which then takes the gravel, compresses it, throws it into our auto heavy sieve, which I threw an iron stiffened mesh on, which I'll explain in just a second. And then from there, it takes all of those materials and sends them out into all of our different auto crafters, or mechanical crafters, I should say, which then crafts it into the respective chunks. Those get pulverized in the crusher, so you could use a crusher to actually change your cobblestone into gravel. And then that gets filtered into a powered furnace from Actually Addition. So a lot of Actually Additions and extra utilities machines here, mainly because, for one, they're cheaper, and two, they're a little bit more effective. So the mechanical crafter doesn't take any power to use, which is awesome. So I'm definitely going to use those. This is where our ore pieces get changed into chunk pieces, as you can see. The chunk pieces go out via item conduits from Ender.io. Again, a very cheap and really probably the best way to transport items, I would say, and other than getting into an Emmy system. And then that goes down into our crusher, excuse me. And our crusher then obviously takes a little bit of power, and then it converts our chunks into a dust. Now I went with the crusher, again, mainly because it is cheap. They are very, very cheap to make. I think I still have it on here. It basically is cobblestone, Restonia crystals, basic coils, some flint, and then an iron casing. The iron casing is going to be your most expensive item from these, and you'll see a very common theme about using these, especially because you have to get these steel shafts, which take steel blocks. You need blocks of steel for that. But there's an easy way to get around that. And I'll show you that in just a minute here. So yeah, gets crushed up in our Actually Editions crusher and then sends into the powered furnace. Now I did a powered furnace because it takes in 2 items like you saw. So we can come in here. Again, pretty straightforward crafting recipe. Again, iron casing is going to be your most expensive component of this. So it works like a furnace, as I mentioned, but it uses 25 CF per tick. I don't know the conversion rates to RF because that's technically what we're using, kind of. It's interesting. But it can smelt 2 items at a time. That was the biggest thing. So basically I could make one of these, have both sides filter in, and be cooked up at the same exact time. And it doesn't take as much power as our effective furnace or whatever it is that we have over there that can do 3 things at a time and gives us some experience from it. Oh, there is now a fly flying around in my office. That is great. Anywho, so yeah, it's set up like that. And then obviously below these powered furnaces, we have Ender.io conduits that are all tied together. They head out of here, they go across underneath, and they actually tie into our system, our simple storage system. So if I look at iron, just based upon pretty much what I've been running it at for a little bit, it hasn't been too much time, we are up to 1,600 iron ingots from that. Now if I look at gold, it's going to be a very similar case scenario, 1,200. And then if I look at diamonds, another byproduct, we're up to 240 diamonds almost. Now, obviously, it's not crazy numbers we're talking here. There's a lot of end game items that you could get to that you could start producing a bunch of output. But I think it's a relatively good setup for what we need. Now, you might be noticing we have some runoff over here that ties into our output right here. Well, this is for everything that doesn't need to go through any of these users. Or these crafters, I should say. Now, each crafter on the Ender.io conduit interface here, I have a item filter. So basically, this will only allow in the items that I specify. So this is specific for gold, so only gold will go in here, only iron, so on and so forth. Then if something doesn't have a place in the line, it'll get filtered all the way down and just go directly into our system. So I'm talking diamonds, if there were emeralds, redstone, lapis, so on and so forth. Those things that can't be crafted into any, well, we don't care about crafting into anything, let's say. Now, I did want to mention, or I did want to show you why I was using an iron stiffened sieve. So if we go to gravel here, and we go to uses, actually, I think it has to be compressed gravel. Yeah, we go to uses on compressed gravel because we want to look at a heavy sieve for it. So you can use a diamond stiffened mesh for it, right? You'll get diamonds, you'll get coal, you'll get lapis, so on and so forth. But you look at what you get from this, and you might have a little bit higher chance from it, right, for certain items. But then you look at what you can get from an iron stiffened one, and it's dramatically, well, not dramatically, there's definitely more that you can get from it. So for example, sapphire, rubies, those weren't included in the diamond one, as you can see. I mean, what, we get 6 new items from just doing an iron stiffened one. I think you also get osmium, and then I think uranium is another one. No, osmium, and then there's 1 or 2 other things. Osmium, lead, you do get redstone, which is a big thing, and I think you do get emeralds. but you do lose out on certain things. So we've exchanged getting lapis for now getting more redstone. And that was kind of the trade-off I mainly wanted. I really wanted to have a good buildup of redstone, which I don't have. I mean, it's starting to get there now. We're up to 240, but you go through so much redstone in this pack, especially with a lot of these machines, that's really, it makes sense to kind of have that trade-off. We have plenty of lapis. We don't really use lapis for much, except for one specific thing that I'll show you guys in just a second. But we're up to 500 lapis chilling in our inventory, and it's easy enough to get more lapis. I'm sure we have plenty of it laying around. So this is the setup. It's kind of crazy, but it is awesome. Really, really awesome. And what we could easily do is get something different set up here. If we didn't want to use cobblestone, we could use netherrack, let's say, if we wanted the output from netherrack. And we could realistically try to change the setup to mirror the items we would get from that. And we still have this whole other half over here that we can utilize, which is pretty awesome. I'm happy with this setup. We can let it run and it works perfect. Now I am using these wireless RF transmitters to get power to everything, and they do their job, but that's what we're going to get into maybe today. We'll see how this episode ends up going. So yeah, that is the whole building. Obviously, I don't have a door on it yet. I did take you downstairs, I believe, right? And I showed you all this, but I didn't show you the rest of it. So if you might notice, we actually bumped down the level of our... Uh-oh. Please hold. We have a Enderman who's chasing us. This happens from time to time. These guys kind of just show up, and they just want to attack me for no reason. But anywho, what was I saying? Oh, yes. The... level of our basement down here has been lowered down to account for pretty much how every other building in our setup has been. Like across the way, we have it that way as well. So I kind of wanted it to mirror that. And if you do check out the stream recap, we took it really far down. We pretty much redid everything. There was pretty much nothing left except for maybe some of these outer walls here that we had left. Pretty much everything else was torn down. Now we did bump our void ore miner down a little bit as well to accommodate the height. Now I do have it set up with a small storage crate here. It was more so from testing purposes because I wasn't sure if our Ender IO item conduits would export into our setup here, but it seems to be working. I guess I don't necessarily need it there, but just in case, I figured it doesn't hurt to have it. But as you can see, we have our setup of drawers here specific for all of our void ore miner items that can just get pumped right into here. And also this allows us to expand our void ore miner a lot easier if we so chose to do, because as you expand it more, it gets bigger. And now this offers us a lot more space that we could do it. And really, if we wanted to, we could sink it down more as well. So we don't have to keep going high up. We could just keep sinking it down and expanding it out. And that's why I tried to even it out. That's why we expanded this side over here, because I wanted to be able to do that very easily. So that's pretty much the setup for this. Again, I like it a lot. There's a lot of different possibilities for doing something like this. A lot of different ways that I've heard of it. I had some comments on the previous episode of people doing it different ways. But this is just my own personal take on it. Now, I do want to recap back to what I had said earlier around the item, or the iron item casings, right? The iron casings, yes. So these are extremely expensive. The recipe has been changed. They are extremely expensive to make and tedious to make as well. But there's a good way to get them. Villager trading. So, obviously the caveat to this, you have to have a villager in order to be able to do this. But if you can get an engineering villager and get him to level 4, you can trade with him for these iron casings, which is a steal compared to crafting it up. Now I have my villager stored over here. I keep different ones depending on the mod that I'm trying to utilize them from. And I keep them in these mob imprisonment tools. So I'll place them down here. And obviously this is our engineer one. And we can go through and see everything that they have to offer. Now obviously I already have them to a level 4. And this is where the good pricing comes in. 3 emeralds get you 2 iron casings. 2 iron casings. That's a great deal. Now, some of you might think that's a little bit unfair, compared to crafting it up at the start based on the original crafting recipe. But you got to take into consideration, you have to find a villager first before you could even do that. And the chances of then even finding an engineering one are relatively low in that sense as well. The way that I was able to get one is I took our villager, put it in our mob duplication chamber, and I just duplicated until I found an engineer. But even with that, it took me a couple minutes to actually get one to spawn. But what we could easily do now, grab some emeralds, right? Got a whole bunch of emeralds. Talk to him. We'll throw him in here. We'll just get something easy like black quartz or something like that. And really, it should make him happy enough to replenish his inventory. And we'll come down here. And we'll grab as many as we can. So unfortunately, we didn't get a bunch of them, but it was a decent amount. Now we could also get some wood casings, which is definitely worth it to get. I can even show you. I think I have a decent stockpile of these iron casings. Yeah, I have 62 iron casings. I don't think we're going to have any trouble getting iron casings. But yeah, that's basically a good way to do it. I know that we did it with other things as well, to get like old iron, I think, as well. We did it. There's a whole slew of different things that you can do in order to get that, different things from villagers is what I'm trying to say. Now, the other thing that I did get up and going are these Spectre Illuminators from Random Things. Now, these are actually really cool, and they help out a lot to mitigate the amount of torches that you would have to use. So as you can see, you do need to have ectoplasm from Random Things, so keep that in mind. And then also you have to get a luminous powder up and going, which takes these glowing mushrooms. Now, these are relatively easy to find down in the down in caves and things like that, so that's where you have to find those. But these Spectre Illuminators basically will, you use them, you right click them on the ground, and it'll spawn the illuminator itself that will light up a whole entire chunk that it's been spawned into. And as you heard there, you might have heard it, that ghost has spawned once again. Yep, right there. Don't know what it is. Again, guys, let me know. Let me know what down below what is going on with that guy. But yeah, as you can see, we got a couple of them hanging out here. So we got one here, one there, one over there, and then one right over here as well. And this just lights up this whole area. You might have noticed, I don't have any torches along here. There are no torches. It's all just from that. And if I go in and I click our F7, which will bring up any dark spots that we might have, you can see the yellow X's over there, but we don't have any through here at all. What? Where did that villager come from? What? You guys seeing that, right? Where did you come from, sir? Oh, you know what? He's been hanging out around here for a while. He probably just went in the water and made his way over here. I believe he was hanging out over here for a while in our area where we were going to get into Bewitchment, which we still will. Don't worry, guys. We are going to get into it. We just haven't yet because I've gotten a little sidetracked with things. Oh, we got a dude over here. We got a ghost. Is that a ghost? Yeah, it's a ghost that's just not handling the texture of being a blight ghost there very well. There we go. All right. Let's see. Did we get a heart from that? We did not. It happens from time to time, but unfortunately it didn't happen with us. But anyway, so yes, that's our awesome setup. I like it a lot. Wow, there's actually a lot of ghosts around here. I don't know why there's so many ghosts. You see one, there's floating one right there and everything like that. Let's actually sleep through the night. Why not? But that is pretty much everything that we have done thus far, you know, between the stream and everything like that. But that chews through a lot of our episode. Now, I'm going to catch you guys up on where we stand with our, get rid of this, our compressed cobblestone production here. So it is going, it is kind of backlogged a little bit here. I actually probably should bump this up a wee bit to get things going. But we have 2 sextuple compressed cobblestone. But again, take into consideration that is, you know, including a 2 to 3 hour stream that we had that this was able to run and be able to produce things So, and we don't have anything that else is really close. We have a couple quadruples, but we don't even have the next one up from that. So, but anywho, I think that is about it. The last thing I did want to show, obviously, is our Ender IO conduits, item conduits. They run down. I have it run underneath, and then they just tie in behind our storage system right here. So they tie into our drawer controller that then distributes them out amongst the items here. And as you can see, lots of iron. Now, the next thing I did want to do, which we'll start now, there was, well, you know what? No, I'll regroup and I'll show you what I did want to show you as well, was the other thing that we worked on, which is down here around our power production. So you guys probably remember that we got up and going a bioreactor and our biofuel generators. So basically, just to recap once again, the bioreactor takes biomaterials and converts it into a biofuel. The biofuel is then distributed amongst the biofuel generators. And then that produces power. Now, what I have done here, obviously, is mixed things up a little bit more. So one of the items you can use, which actually is interesting, do we have everything in there? Seeds, that, and that, yep. So one of the things you can use is actually lapis. So obviously, I threw some lapis in there. Felt like it was good, because as you put more materials in there, the efficiency increases even more. So we're up to 37.5 efficiency, which isn't amazing, but it's better than what we were running at before. And as you can see as well, we've also switched up our farms. So now we have a potato farm and we have a carrot farm. Because we were already rocking enough seeds and enough wheat, as you can see, at almost 14,000 of each, I figured it would be good to kind of jump into those other areas and get those going. Now we might switch to something different down the line as well, but for now that works. But anywho, so this is getting sucked out of these drawers via the item conduits into our bioreactor. It makes the biofuel, which for the time being, I do have it pumping into our generators, but I also have an ultimate fluid tank from Mechanism that is holding, what is that? 112 buckets, I believe, is how I'm reading that correctly. Because I think a bucket is just 1,000 milliliters, right? Or 1,000 millibuckets equals 1 bucket, I think. Anyway, it's a lot. It is a lot of fuel that we're holding in there. So if we take a look at this, you can see how it's crafted up. Mechanism way, you have to progress through the tiers to get up there. So you start at the lowest one, which is the basic. And we could actually kind of pull these up. If I could spell, there we go. So you start at the lowest, pretty easy to make. Bump up to the next one, need some enriched alloys. Then you go up to the next one, you need reinforced alloy. You go to the next one, you need atomic alloy. And then you need the previous tank in order to bump up to the next one. And it does need to be empty. I will, point that out for you guys as well. Now, obviously, we can't do a creative one because it's only for creative mode. But yeah, so I got that up and running so that we can utilize it. I mean, realistically, it will be something good to have this backfill of it. And then I also got up and going the pressurized fluid conduit from Ender IO, or you could just in general use fluid conduit from Ender IO. I was using thermal expansions, I believe, before, if I am not mistaken. So if I look up fluid duct from thermal dynamics, I guess. But I was using those and they're okay, but I really do like the Ender IO conduits. They just are so much nicer and their interface is really, really easy to use. Maybe. Are we lagging a little bit here? We might be lagging a little bit here. But yeah, the interface is pretty straightforward to use if you can, if we could actually get into it. For some reason, we can't get into it. So strange. It happens from time to time. But anywho, so we have it pumping into 3 different biofuel generators. Now, we were reading one of these bioreactors could supply up to like 12 or so, or 24 of the generators, which is pretty crazy. But obviously for us, 3 is fine for now. Now I do have them pumping into an ultimate energy cube. I felt like it was good to store energy, and I was having too much issues with the other one for whatever reason it was. So we did get up and going. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I think it was energy, right? Maybe not. I have to go into the quest progression here to look for it, because I just forget sometimes what it's called. Quantum flux, the Qubit cluster. We got the level 2 up and going, which stores 2.5 million. It's okay, but I was just running into a lot of glitches with it where it wasn't connecting to our wireless battery correctly, so on and so forth. So I was like, and also to progress through the tiers, it is actually a little bit more pricey than going the mechanism route. So I just got another one of these going. It does store 51 million RF, which is crazy. And we're already well on our way to that. This hasn't been running too long. It's just been kind of storing in. But even regardless, I think this backfills a million RF per each biofuel generator, which is just an insane amount of power. And then I just have some basic universal cables going into it, which is fine for now. I didn't need anything too crazy. Now we do have our wireless RF battery on top here, and it is fine, but this probably will have to wait till the next episode because we're already running pretty long. I've been recapping on things a little bit here, but I want to try something different, utilizing Spectre coils and the Spectre energy injector from random things. So we're going to try it out. Again, it'll be next episode because we're already running long here. But we're going to try to use that power to transfer things wirelessly, maybe alongside the wireless RF battery. But again, I'm not going to get too much into it right now because I want to save it. I want to dedicate a little bit more time to it than I have left here in this episode. Now, the other thing that we are actually going to get into relatively soon, I know I keep saying bewitchment, but I think it makes sense to start getting into applied energistics. There's a lot of cool things we can do in it. And, I mean, getting a Emmy system up and going definitely will help in terms of our random storage. We can still tie into our controller setup for our drawers, which is awesome. But for all of our random items that we have, they get so cluttered in the crates that we use that an Emmy system would be awesome to have. And we could also try to get the wireless terminal up and going. Now, there's nothing wrong with the simple storage network, but I think ME would be kind of cool. Now, I don't know if that'll be next episode. I don't know if it'll be the next episode after that. No guarantees on time frames for that. But at the very least, what I did want to do was get some crystals. Some of the Certus quartz crystals here. You can't see it behind my camera here, but I'll pull it up. So these are the charged ones. There's normal ones as well. But you can get these from a sieve via diamond mesh and crushed skystone. Now, crushed skystone comes from normal skystone, which you can make on your own if you wanted to, or if you just go out in the world, realistically, you should be able to find one. I think that's where I found most of mine from. I was going out and finding a meteor in the world, crushing it down to this level. And then what you could do is I just use a normal sieve because that's all you can use it on. I don't believe you can actually use it on a heavy sieve. Yeah, you can't. You can only use it on a normal one. And I highly recommend using a diamond mesh for it if you have it, because you can get the charged ones along with the seeds as well, which can be extremely useful. These guys down here, they're just hanging out. I don't even, where are they at? There's one guy over there. And the other guy's somewhere, but I hear him. But anywho, so we can take this and we'll just throw it through our sieve, and it's extremely quick based upon all of the enchantments we have on it. And as you can see, we actually completed a quest just from that, but we're going to get a whole bunch of crystals from this. So I'll just go one more here. So that was about, what, 20 or so? And as you can see, we almost got a whole stack of each crystal as well as the seeds. Now we also did get some fish as well, because we do have luck of the sea on this, and it's kind of weird because I didn't really anticipate it. I've never had any luck with that before actually working, but for whatever reason it just happens to work, you know, with the crushed skystone. But we did get a bunch of the Certus Quartz seeds. We did get a bunch of the charged crystals as well as the normal ones as well. And that did complete a quest, so we could collect the rewards on that. And we can eventually move into the next part of it, getting the Fluix crystal up and going. And then we can actually get into some of the other items, making the, getting the presses going, which I think we have to actually find. I don't think we can make them, can we? We can make them if we already have one. But we actually might have to go out and find them, unless we get into mystical agriculture. There's a lot of different things we could be doing. But anywho, we're going to wrap things up there. The other thing I did want to mention is, yeah, these Halloween lollipops. I'm guessing Coral Tombstone was updated for Halloween because we are getting to Halloween time here. We are sitting at, yeah, almost the end of October. But we have these lollipops that you can find drop from certain mobs. And I think it's just a food. I don't know. Feather Feet has been cast on you. You get random effects. So I don't know. I think that just helps us. Like if we fall, like we don't take any damage or something like that. We try it out. I have no idea. Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. And we also have this one, which gave us glowing, which I would then assume just illuminates the area around us. If we go into F5, yeah, we're actually kind of glowing. You can see we're outlined there. We really should get some more armor going on. That's for certain. I don't know if like it really does anything other than that, but it doesn't really look like it lights up the area around us. It looks like we're just glowing. We have a glowing effect on us. But anyways, guys, we're going to wrap up the episode there. I hope you all enjoyed. If you do have questions on my setup, feel free to leave comments down below or jump over onto our Discord. I have it linked in the description. I can try to help answer as many questions as you might have around how I had set things up. One last tip of advice for using Ender.io conduits. If you are using the extract feature on it, you do have to change the redstone default on it, because by default it's like active only with the redstone. You want it to be always active. Just another tip in mind. But again, leave comments down below if you have questions, concerns. If you want to try it on your own setup, let me know. If you want to post pictures over on the Discord of what you have your setup being, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see them. Like I said, I do stream over on Twitch Mondays and Fridays. This Friday, we actually aren't going, well, I guess it's last Friday. You won't be seeing this for a few days. But we did not have a stream this past Friday. I had some stuff come up. But anywho, Mondays and Fridays, typical time. We'll be playing something, either this, Rage 2, something different. So feel free to catch a stream. I'd love to see you there. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for sticking through to the end. Catch you on the next one. Take it easy.